Oh, hey Capri, what are you up to? You want to watch something?
Are you struggling to get ahead? Feeling stuck in a rut? Never able to reach your goals?
Hey, what's going on? Where did you get that footage?
What if I told you that not only can you level up, but you can do it at the speed of light? That's right, quantum change. You can completely transform, rebrand, and even glow up. All you have to do is take Fixitol.
Fixitol? What's Fixitol?
We're so glad you asked. Fixitol is New Year's Day captured in a bottle. It's the shiny new leather-bound bullet journal you're totally going to use, and the diet plan that starts on Monday. It's the impetus to change your entire life in 6 months. No, 4 weeks. No, 3 days. It's that wonderfully familiar tabula rasa kind of feeling. All for the low, low price of $5.99. Individual results may vary. Here, try a sample.
Hey, how did this get here?
Fixitol comes in 7 or even 11, but if you call now, we'll give you 50 for $1.99. It also comes with a warranty. Here's how to order.
Fixitol, huh? Sounds tempting, but what is it? Is it like a pill or something? What's that? What's that, Capri?
Yeah, good question. What are the side effects? We're so glad you asked. Fixitol is a temporary solution to complex nuanced issues that may not have any singular answer. Side effects include unrealistic expectations, comparing yourself to strangers online, and buying things you don't need. The benefits of Fixitol are temporary and may only last a day and no longer than a month. Fixitol may lead to periods of sudden and brief elation followed by feelings of distress and despair. Talk to your doctor right away if you experience fatigue, sadness, overwhelm, resentment, and frustration. Ask your healthcare provider if Fixitol is right for you.
Sorry, that doesn't sound like it even does anything, and you never even specified the warranty. And sorry, what's this under the label?
Is that snake oil? Ask your doctor if Fixitol is right for you. We'll give you floppy fee for $1.99. Here's how to order. Here's how to order. Here's how to order. Here's how to order. Here's how to order.
Fixitol. Got to buy Fixitol. Need Fixitol. Got to buy Fixitol. Oh my gosh. What a strange dream. Really need to get my act together for real this time. I don't want another short-term solution. There has to be a way for me to change my life and get out of this rut. There just has to be. Hi everyone, my name's Ashley Marie and welcome to the channel. I had a bit of a strange dream last night and it gave me an epiphany, a eureka moment, if you will. I'm starting to realize that I need to stop looking for quick fixes. The next 6 months will be the start of a long-term journey to improve my life from a place of self-love and self-acceptance. I've tried things like 75 hard, endless New Year's resolutions, productivity systems, and yeah, they usually work at first. I'd make these giant lists like wake up at 5 a.m., work out daily, meditate, meal prep, read a book every week, and by week 3, I'd be feeling exhausted and guilty. I was trying to make Fixitol type improvements, just like in my dream. Eventually, I burned out trying to change everything at once from a place of self-criticism instead of self-respect. This time, I want to aim for progress and not perfection. I realized that I can't build discipline on top of exhaustion and chaos. So instead of starting with productivity hacks, I want to start with a strategy that covers the basics. This is where using Maslow's hierarchy of needs comes in. Okay, so my strategy is to build foundational habits that help increase your capacity, meaning more time and energy and stability, so you can tackle more complex, larger goals in the future. To build those foundational habits, I'm using Maslow's hierarchy of needs as sort of like a habit building framework. If you aren't familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, here's a quick crash course. Psychologist Abraham Maslow proposed that human motivation tends to move in stages. First, you meet your basic physiological needs. These are what you need to survive on a deserted island, besides your best friend, Wilson the volleyball. This is going to include food, water, shelter, sleep, clothing, breathing, those kind of basic necessities. Then we're moving on to safety and security. This is including like financial security, health and wellness, safety against accidents and injury. Next is love and belonging. This is including friendship, community, romantic attachment, things of that sort. Then we're raising our self esteem, we're finding our self worth, a sense of achievement and value. And then finally, we make it to the top. We reach self actualization. Maslow describes those who are self actualized as people who have developed or are developing to the full stature of which they are capable. In essence, it's becoming the best version of yourself. Now, obviously, this is just a theory and not a law of nature written in stone. Human beings are messy and people move between these categories all of the time. But I think the framework is still useful as a way to sort of simplify habit building. Instead of trying to fix my entire life all at once, I can focus on building stability layer by layer. Okay, so now that we understand Maslow's theory, let's look at my personal pyramid that describes a scheme by which to achieve my goals. My pyramid scheme, if you will. So, for the first 6 months of this journey, I'm going to be focusing on the first two stages of the hierarchy. First, physiological needs for about 2 to 3 months, followed by safety. Each of these stages are defined by core and supporting habits. Core habits are maybe a little bit more effortful, but they're higher impact, whereas supporting habits, maybe they're a little bit less effort, but still contribute towards the goal. So keep in mind that I won't be doing all of these habits at once. I'll sort of layer them in slowly over time. And while this list is comprehensive, I really hope it's not too ambitious. I do meet my basic physiological needs, however, several are suboptimal. I don't drink nearly enough water, my sleep is pretty awful, and while I do have basic shelter, my apartment is often quite messy and disorganized. I have enough clothing, however, I'm going to leave style for the self esteem category. My goals for this stage are to get quality sleep for at least 7 hours per night for most nights per week, maintain adequate hydration levels via a daily intake target of 2 to 3 liters and subjective markers like thirst and urine color, eliminate nutritional deficiencies measured through a blood test, and to maintain a clean, organized, and decluttered space. So I don't want to list off all these habits and bore you, so I will place them on the screen as well as in the description box in case you're interested. We can dive into each category in future videos, but they'll include habits and tasks like going to bed at the same time each night, drinking 2 to 3 liters of water per day, taking iron supplements because I'm anemic, and deep cleaning my apartment. After I've established these habits for the first 2 to 3 months, I'll begin to layer in safety and security based habits and goals. Because this section is so jam packed and I really don't want to feel overwhelmed, I'm going to leave out financial security and safety against accidents and injury for now and just focus on mental and physical health. But we will come back to those sections later. So, a major factor for me in my health is PMOS, formerly known as PCOS. If you haven't heard of PMOS, it's a hormonal and metabolic disorder that affects roughly 10% of women. But I won't get into too much detail here. I'm sure we can talk about it in a later video. Overall, the goal is to eventually put my PMOS symptoms into remission, though I will manage the disorder for life. So my goals for this stage in health and wellness are to begin to put PCOS into remission, which will likely take longer than a few months, lose 40 pounds, and reverse insulin resistance. So some of my health and wellness habits and tasks include removing ultra-processed foods from my diet, tracking my calorie and macro intake, and walking a minimum of 8,000 steps per day. So I think addressing my mental health is actually going to take a lot longer than 6 months. I mean, it's a lifelong journey. And I also think that some of those higher levels of the hierarchy, like self esteem and self actualization, are interconnected with mental health as well. So for now, my goals are to become more mindful and intentional of my thoughts and feelings and to not let them dictate my actions, improve emotional awareness and understanding, develop positive coping mechanisms, develop self acceptance and self-compassion, and to reduce personal screen time to less than 2 hours per day. So, some of my mental health habits and tasks include continuing to see a therapist on a regular basis and practicing mindfulness meditation. To keep track of these habits and tasks, I will be using an app called Streaks. I used to use Habitica, but I wanted something that provides a little more data so that I can share that information with you. Additionally, in my productivity system that I'm still working on, I like to use tools like Google Calendar, Microsoft To Do, and various other apps. I like to externalize everything, like that popular concept of a second brain. But I can talk more about that in a future video. And that's all we're going to focus on for now. Keep in mind that this is a living plan, an iterative process that can change throughout the journey, especially if I'm feeling overwhelmed. And to be honest, I'm a little nervous. I've never been good at sticking to habits or being consistent. That being said, at this point, I've read several self help books and listened to one too many podcasts. I just want to develop discipline and take sustainable action. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching my very first YouTube video. I'd be interested to hear how you structure your own self-development. Do you just do it, or do you create systems as well? If you want to follow my stories and make positive changes, feel free to subscribe. See you next time!